let me differentiate between redevelopment and self-development. In 2009, that is September 2009, the then ministry, the then chief minister, he appointed a IS officer from SIDCO. That IS officer, he was empowered to read, study and maybe pass an order for certain issues. अभी बॉम्बे सिटी में आपने देखा है कि मुंबई सिटी मध्ये there are lot of developers who come and they cheat a common man, and the cheating was very high, you can say within the last 7-8 years, and every day in the paper you find some builder or other is going in the jail. These are the last 10-15 years जे सगळं झालेलं आहे त्याच्यामध्ये जाता सगळं जाताना. I am not taking the names of anyone because I know there will be many affected parties here. So the then IS officer in 2009, he removed a circular of redevelopment. That circular is called 79A procedure. म्हणजे bylaws मध्ये 79 असा एक clause आहे which is the extension of that. This notification is the extension of that clause. In this, it was mandatory and not directive, mandatory in nature to appoint a PMC, to take out a tender, float it in the market and take quotations. Some things are mandatory in nature and some things in the circular are directive in nature. At the appointment of advocate to look after all your documents, it is mandatory in nature but also directive in nature, because some people, they may think I'll be able to do it. So if you go to the circular, you'll find two parts of that. So once you go through the document, you'll come to know the entire procedure of redevelopment. Now I'll talk about the procedure of redevelopment. First, you appoint a PMC, step number 1. You appoint an advocate or vice versa. And the advocate will also make the agreement for the PMC also. Then the combination of advocate and the PMC, they will make a tender document, the draft tender document. The draft tender document, they will get it approved in the general body meeting. Now please note, it is mandatory to get certain things approved in the general body meeting. Please do not be extra bold. I am telling to the managing committee. Please do not be extra bold to pass it without getting approved in the general body meeting. So you get the tender, the draft tender approved in the general body meeting, float it in the market. Either it can be open tendering system or closed. Now what is open and closed? ओपन म्हणजे समजा 50 मेंबर्स आहे एका सोसायटीमध्ये आणि 10 लोकांनी सांगितलं की सर माझ्याकडे एक डेव्हलपर आहे, ही इज इंटरेस्टेड, यू कॅन गिव्ह टेंडर, बोलते यू ब्रिंग युअर कोटेशन. दॅट इज कॉल्ड ओपन टेंडरिंग. क्लोज्ड आणि सील टेंडरचा अर्थ असा आहे की वी गिव्ह ॲडव्हर्टाइजमेंट इन न्यूजपेपर, 2-3-4 न्यूजपेपर वी गिव्ह ॲडव्हर्टाइजमेंट and we ask for sealed tenders from the developers. Then those tenders are opened also in the general body meeting. After you open it in the general body meeting, you approve. Example, we have got some 10 response आले. From that you shortlist maybe 2 or 3 and then to 1 after during a course of negotiation. I am not going to the decision of how to negotiate. We all know how to negotiate. So we negotiate and come to serial number 1. With serial number 1, you finalize corpus, extra area, rent, shifting charges, and amenities. Broadly, these are the requirements in a tender. And you will select the best developer. Now, when a society comes to us, what is the 3 things I look at before finalizing a developer? This is very, very important. आपण कोणता developer appoint करायला पाहिजे? And what is the criteria? There are 3 criteria. The 3 criteria we look at and which I think you should also look at. First, overall image of the developer. The city is very transparent. Everything is available on Google, including our biodata. So you check out in the search engines what is the reputation of the developer. First is reputation of the developer. Second is the litigations of the developer. Every day there are hundreds of litigation of developers. So you check out in the system or maybe through your lawyer. Ki sir, please tell us what are the litigation of the developer going on in Mumbai city or in Supreme Court or anywhere in the world. So you come out with the list of litigations. And third, the most important, please note, if my project is of say 50 crores, I need to have a developer whose turnover is at least 15 to 20 crores. Can I and you give a contract to a developer whose turnover is just 1 or 2 crores, a 50 or 100 crore project? The answer is no. we will not be able to do it. There are many developers in city, in Mumbai city, who will come and tell, sir, वो आपको 35% दे रहा है, मैं आपको 45% दे रहा है. So members से pressure असतं. अरे सर 45% जो देते त्याला आपण कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट द्यायला पाहिजे. मला जास्त एरिया पाहिजे. But this is a trap. Please note, this is a trap. I'll give you a simple example. In one of the projects in Kandivali, I am not naming the plot. The plot is open plot of 1 lakh square feet, where there are about 300 members of a society. They finalize a developer. Who was maybe the B category developer. He offered 42%. And there are two other developers who were A category, but they offered only 18 and 20%. The 18% was Tata Housing, the 20% was Godrej Properties, and the 42% was that B category developer. The pressure was there from all the society members, कि मैं क्यों double ना लूँ? And they finalized 42%. Now I'll tell you the story after that what happened. It is important for you to know. The 42% we finalized because the pressure of members, 350 member, and unanimously passed. Ki we don't want Tata Housing, we don't want Godrej Property, we want double the area. Who is giving? We made a letter of intent. We took the consent. We passed in general body. There's a grand party. मी पण त्या पार्टीमध्ये गेलेलो. मला पण चांगलं वाटलं जेवायचं वगैरे त्या पार्टीमध्ये. And the story started after that. He came up with a proposal की डीपी प्लान येणार आहे, डीसी रूल चेंज होणार आहे, पॉलिसी FIC पॉलिसी चेंज होणार आहे, TDRचा रेट वाढलेला आहे, and he started defaulting. For 2 years he did nothing. For 2 years. And then we told him that we are sending you a letter of discontinuing, not termination, discontinuing. Now see the difference. If I have a registered agreement, then I'll terminate you. But I don't have a contractual obligation with you. Why letter? I'll discontinue with you. So we sent a letter of discontinuing the developer, and he directly went to the High Court. He went to the High Court. Why? How can you discontinue me now? So our argument was, you did nothing in the project. We won the case in the High Court, but he won after 1.5 years. Then he went to Supreme Court. We won the case in Supreme Court. They also took another one year. So we wasted 4.5, 5 years only for the greed of these people who thought the extra area which we are getting, for which I am entitlement, I have to finalize that developer only, and they went into the trap. Now the question you will ask me, when you were the lawyer, how did this happen? This matter came to us after the litigation started. And then we terminated that developer, and then we got a new developer. Now we got a new developer. So friends, you understand, don't be extra greedy about asking something more. See the reputation. Reputation is most important today in the city like Mumbai. So go by the reputation. So then we go to the contractual part of it. Now we select a good developer, and then what are documents we are going to execute? First is the MOU. Why MOU and not directly development agreement? I'll tell you why. Many societies tend to go and register directly development, which you should not do. See, when you go and register a MOU, there are certain obligations to be fulfilled from both the parties. We as a society have to fulfill some obligations, and he as a developer has to fulfill some obligations. So once that obligations are fulfilled, he may take about 3-6 months time, including setback area, etc. We fulfill those obligations and then go into the procedure of registering a development agreement. Development agreement again has to be approved by the general body meeting. Between that, the 79 procedure is complete. Between the MOU, maybe between the tendering process and the DA, the 79 procedure is completed, where the person comes from the deputy registrar, he video shoots all the members and raises the hands, and they pass by a resolution by majority. When the DA is registered, simultaneously also register a power of attorney. So the power of attorney and development agreement, they coexist and co-terminate together, both the documents, and both are registered. It is must. And even you will not get IOD, the developer will not get IOD if the documents are not registered. You are safe enough. So no one can, take you to the gun point and tell you, register karo. You have enough time in general body meeting, pass through the procedure and then get it registered. Then comes the question of bank guarantee, which is required. Normally people take about 20% of the construction cost, not the sale value. Some the construction of the building is say about 10 crores. So you may take about 20% of 10 crores, that is 2 crores, you may take a bank guarantee. After you complete this procedure, he applies for the IOD. After the IOD comes, the vacation of the building has to be done only after you get IOD. Please remember, don't vacate the building before you get the IOD. Because when you get the IOD, after the receipt of the IOD only, he can register individual agreements. That's the technical reason. He cannot register agreement till the time you don't get IOD. So vacate the building, but after you get the IOD. Once you vacate the building CC comes. And then your procedure and project starts. In the meantime, parallelly, your developer will also go and register his project under RERA. So now I'm coming to the third one in the sequence. So you all know RERA. RERA came into effect in the year 2014-15. I was one of the person in the panel. In that panel, we gave a lot of our suggestions. Prakashji, we had given about 98 suggestions and 91 got cleared because they were slightly pro-consumer also. But the procedure of screening was very big. The then chairman was Anil Dave. Anil Dave, he was a member of parliament from Madhya Pradesh, and he is just expired a year before. He was very young, but he expired after that. He passed the bill in the Lok Sabha. Then the bill went to Rajya Sabha. And when it went to Rajya Sabha, at that time, the then government did not have the majority. In 2000, you can say 13-14. So in Rajya Sabha, because it got stuck up, it went all members committee, parliamentary committee from all parties. That committee was formed, and it took 1.5 years to go to Western India, Eastern India, South India, North India, and then make the RERA bill. Then RERA bill was passed in Rajya Sabha, and then it came into effect in the year 2015-16. So RERA today is safeguarding all of you. Now coming to RERA points. In RERA, you are safeguarded in many ways. So please be assured, the developer has to mandatorily register under RERA, number one. Number two, he has to submit his balance sheet, profit and loss statement, and upload it online. So you have the opportunity to go into the RERA system online and check his credentials. The third, he has to give an undertaking and a declaration what are his litigations going on across the country. And fourth, the most important, he has to give a bar chart. Bar chart म्हणजे काय? म्हणजे project time length. Suppose the project is going to start in say November 2019. So he will give the exact time length कि the project may take 24 months, 36 months, 48 months, and he has to upload in the system. Now he may also default in that, but he has the opportunity to have a grace period of 6 months. So grace period of 6 months is given in the extension of the project timeline, and he can still go on with the project. But the maximum timeline available to developer is only 5 years under any circumstances. The project has to be finished within 5 years. Now one important clause came into the system as far as RERA is concerned. 70% of the sale component, supposing I have 100 flats for sale. So I sell this 100 flats, and 70% of the receivables has to be deposited in the escrow account, which is most important factor as far as the RERA bill is concerned. What used to earlier happen? The developer used to take money, divert the money to another project. Maybe some people have lavish cars. You might have seen in the papers in the last few days. Lavish cars, flats, yachts, aeroplanes. Some people have private jet also. All from the sale component. All from the sale component. So the government decided in the RERA that 70% of the money has to be deposited in the escrow account. And 3 people have to sign it before the developer is able to withdraw it. First is the engineer. Second is the architect. And third is the chartered accountant. The 3 certificates have to be there before he can withdraw that 70%. But that 70% has to be utilized only for that project only for which the construction is going on. The balance 30% can be utilized for other projects. So that safeguards all the members. Now when you go taking possession, you may sometimes find the shortage of area. समजा मी 1000 square feet घेतलेलं आहे. That can be 999. That can be 998, that can be 1002 also. So normally the societies, they register a development agreement in such a way, they keep a variation of 1% plus or minus. Because technically 1000 square feet may not be possible exactly. So you can keep that clause of variation. Another important point in RERA, the civil courts in Mumbai are out now. They are out of the jurisdiction. Earlier what used to happen, you can go in consumer court, you can go in city civil court, you can directly go to high court depending on the value of the project. So there are multiple proceedings you can do. You can even go to deputy register. But when RERA came into effect, the government decided, let's not have multiple proceedings. So they put out the city civil court. So civil courts are out. Only two courts are not applicable. One is RERA, which is called a RERA tribunal, and second in the consumer court. You can file in either of the courts. Preferred is RERA because the project is already registered under RERA, and the judgments are very time bound. Maybe 90 days, 120 days, you can get the judgment. And all the litigation now first go to RERA, then it go to appellate RERA, and then it goes to the High Court. And if you go to consumer route, it first go to the state consumer, then it go to the national consumer, and then it will go directly to Supreme Court. The High Court is not there in the consumer route. But normally consumer cases take a longer time, maybe 2, 3, 4 years. If you want to really have faster judgment, you either go to RERA or directly go to High Court. It's very quicker, faster, and in couple of weeks or months only the judgment comes. So I think, friends, as far as RERA is concerned, I've answered all the questions.